P.M.P. It's a new year, it's 2024, and Celtic kick off the way we wanted to, and that is with 3 points to back up the crucial 3 points we won against you-know-who at the weekend. Terry joins us. Happy New Year, big man. Hope you're well.
And you, Bhoycie?
Nice one, mate. Nice one. Happy New Year to everyone watching as well.
I'm good. That was relaxing tonight.
Yep.
After all the nerve jangling of Saturday, it was nice just to sit back and have the job done inside 6 minutes.
Yeah, but I know it's fucking amazing, that feeling that once the second goal goes in, you can just watch it with complete bliss, not disinterest, but you can watch it. You know, we've discussed this on the channel a few times, where even when the result's in jeopardy, you've been watching it almost going with, I don't fancy this. I don't know what's going to happen. Like, you know, it's not that positivity. Whereas tonight It was, we go 2-0 up, and now the result already looks like it's took care of itself, and you could watch it with that sort of zen approach, but from a good space, because, you know, the 3 points are near enough in the bag. I enjoyed that aspect as well. Right, okay, we'll do all that good stuff very quickly. Please give us a like if you are watching. Do it now. Hit the like button below. It gets us loads of traction. 5,500 watched the old P.M.P. for the weekend there, Terry. Not bad numbers, mate. Not bad numbers. Considering we won. that's got to be a record for a win. But look, I think we got 8,000 for a win once. But anyway, it was loads of you watching, and doing the wee like, hitting that wee thumb button does make all the difference. So do it now. If you want to give us a wee share, if you want to start here, by all means, feel free to do all those things as well. There is the other option as well of becoming a Bhoycie Bus member. It's $1.99 a month. Content's completely free. We just give up our time to do the bus. But if you can pay the $1.99, it helps us with subscription fees and all that sort of nonsense as well. is a subscriber or a member. So's Jim C. Where is he? There he is. So's David Kelly. So's Balls to the Walls. So's Alex. So's Phil McGinley. So is Alex Forsyth, Stephen Murdoch, and loads and loads more of you. It is completely optional. The content's always fair. There's Robot Rock, another member. My Ball, another member. They're all flying in. We're approaching 100 live already on the bus. I can see in the wee ticker at the top as well. So fantastic, spending a wee bit of your festive period, if you are still off work, which I hope most of you are, on the bus. We appreciate it massively. Let's get stuck in. Enough of that shite, Terry. You know I hate all that stuff. Let's talk about the Celtic. As you've already touched on, it was a rip-roaring start, you could say.
It was, Bhoycie, and the thing is, if we don't get Saturday's result, I don't think tonight starts like that. And I know they're two completely different games, 3-4 days apart, but I don't think if we don't get the result Saturday, I don't think tonight plays out the way that it did. I just think there's so much in football is about momentum, and we've gone from a position around about 2 weeks ago, 2 and a bit weeks ago, where I've sat on here and I've started to question whether we should be thinking about pulling the trigger on this manager, and also starting to question, first of all, could he turn around what? I mean, in Celtic's last 10 years, 2 defeats in a row, it is a crisis. I know in real life it isn't really, but for us to go 2 SPL games in a row and lose both of them, it's as bad a run as we've been on in a long time. And there were doubts. There were definitely doubts as to whether we had got the players who could turn it round, whether the manager could turn it round. Now, within the space of 4 games, we have built that momentum where the Livingston game was okay. It was good. We created lots of chances. Could have been a cricket score. We then built on that D game. Again, could have been a big score. We then had the game on Saturday, which, although was a fine margin, I still thought we played well and we created plenty of chances. And then you've got tonight, where the game sewn up in the first 6 minutes, and tonight could have been any score as well. I mean, we missed loads and loads of chances tonight. So within that space of those 4 games, that momentum has built, and that performance tonight, and even I'm talking before the red card, before they went down to 10 men, that performance tonight was as dominant as anything we've seen in the last 2 or 3 years. And we've gone from a position of using words like limping through to January to now wishing we didn't have this winter break, because what you don't want now, you don't want Celtic not playing for 3 weeks, because we've only just, for the first time this season, we've only just got out of first gear, and now we're going to be hibernating for 3 weeks, and then you've got to try and build that momentum again. So whilst the manager and the players have done well to build that, they're going to have to go through that same cycle again in 3 weeks' time. And I thought we needed the break 2 or 3 weeks ago, but now I really wish that we didn't have it, because we're getting players back, we're getting performances out of players that is more to what we would have expected from them. Having said that, hopefully, no guarantee, I'm not holding my breath, but hopefully in 3 weeks' time we'll have a stronger team and squad to pick from. But it is just a little bit of a shame that we're going to be locked away now for 3 weeks.
Well, it is to that point, but let's touch on a couple of things that you said there. I mean, I think you're absolutely right. When you look at Celtic's dominance domestically, 2 defeats in a row, you're right, it turns into a mini crisis. Of course it does. I've never been in the fence of trying to get rid of the manager. I don't think you were trying to get rid of the manager. I think you were questioning him, big time. Is that fair?
And when you come on here after a game, you're emotional.
Your emotions are high, and I get that. So I'm not pulling you up on that. I'm not pulling you up on that. I'm not pulling you up on it, mate.
Pull myself up on it.
I think you were one of many who were beginning to question. But you know what I like in a manager as well? I like one who can come out of adversity, and when they do get presented with challenges, maybe even of their own doing, they find a way around that. And he's overcome those, the predicament he was in. He's overcome that with big wins in a row. Our highest sequence of results domestically, in terms of wins in a row. Obviously doing the double now over our rivals for the league title. And then today's game as well was a real banana skin. Let's be real. That was a banana skin. He dealt with it within the first 6 minutes. Well, he didn't. The team did. But he's a big part of that. And I think you have to give credit to the manager when he was under the pressure that he was under. The team was under the pressure they were under. And of course, at boardroom level, all eyes were shifting to them as well. That's a toxic environment at times to be navigating through. He's done that. He's earned his stripes to have a well-deserved break over January and hopefully just be purely focused on getting that board to deliver what he wants this time around in a transfer window. And there's no better position to be going into these windows as a manager, maybe other than at Celtic, than you do it from a position of strength. I know it tends to be different with us. It tends to be you've got a stronger hand if you go in with loads of defeats and a must-need scenario. But we're hoping that is going to be different, because the one thing, if we talk about who the best guy is to work with this board, then I think Brendan, for whatever reason, whether you like him or not, is an agitator, Terry. We spoke about this off air last week. I don't think if there wasn't Rodgers in charge right now, then it would be the board's number one choice that is in charge. And naturally, that would lead you to a place where you would believe whoever it is that they want is because they're going to be willing to work completely under their rule, under their way, under their vision of what a signing should look like, or a group of signings should look like. I would rather have someone capable of being an agitator in there over January. Brendan does it on the back of some crucial wins, 8 points good at the top of the table. Go agitate, Brendan.
The first point you made there, Bhoycie, was about tonight being a potential banana skin. And despite that momentum that we built, there were a lot of Celtic fans apprehensive about this game, and that's purely based on the fact that this season has been so Jekyll and Hyde, and it was just such a relief to get that lead so early in the game and effectively put the game to bed. I know it's never done until the end, but would you really have been surprised the way this season's gone if we were sitting on here now talking about a draw or a defeat, and we're sitting going, I thought we turned the corner? Because so many times this season we thought we've turned the corner, and we've now turned the corner. And we've now accelerated away from that corner into the next street. And it was vital to get those points tonight, because St Mirren is a team that we've struggled with over the last few years.
Spot on.
Even when we've been playing at our sort of scintillating best and at the peak of the last 2 or 3 years, we struggled there. And as I say it time after time, these away games, it doesn't matter if you're playing a team at the bottom or you're playing Hearts or Aberdeen, these away games, you've got to go there and you've got to win them. You've got to get the job done. And it isn't easy to go and do that. So brilliant to get the result. Rodgers under pressure, I think he was. And I think his presser after in the immediate aftermath of the Rangers game. So we've talked about us feeling emotional coming on here half an hour after with a few jars in us, and you've got beat by Hearts or you've got beat off Kilmarnock or whatever, and you're emotional and you say things. He was emotional in his presser and he said things that you wouldn't normally associate with Brendan. He's normally ultra respectful of everyone that he comes up against, but he went out of his way to have a dig at Rangers.
But what he did, Terry, right, and we've talked about this before. We spoke about this. It was referring to Michael Beale. I don't know if you remember this, but it was early on in the season, right? I think it was just after the win at Ibrox, and we said, see the big difference with the guy in charge at that time at Rangers and our manager is, if he is going to make a dig of any sort, I like the one that you just discussed there. He does it after he's got the points on the board, doesn't do it prior. And I thought he was well placed to do that. And you know what? I think sometimes you need to curry favour from sceptical fans using an emotional pool. You need to do something that does stir the emotions in you that goes, fucking right, get it right round him. And I think he waited his moment. He got a massive win. I think he was entitled to do that. And you know what? I think that comment went down very well across the board, even for some of the most sceptical fans of Rodgers still being in situ.
But I think what it does show is that he was feeling the heat and he was feeling the pressure, and he was invested in what he was doing, because I think at times we've asked the question, is he really invested? Is he as invested as he was the last time? And I think what you've seen with those comments, and I think the comments were probably aimed as much at the press and the media and everything as well as anybody else. I think that was just him letting off steam and reminding everyone, ourselves included, that he is completely invested in this and he is good at what he does. And his record in these games, albeit the last time he was a manager, it was a different proposition. But we've seen in the two games this season that despite us not really being in great form ahead of those games, he's been able to get the job done in both of those matches. And it's going to be interesting as well what you touched on there around the transfer window. If the transfer window opens after that defeat to Hearts, do we see a board that are more invested off the back of defeats, or does the 4 victories that cement us at the top of the table, does the emergence of Paulo Bernardo as a player who adds value? And again, that's another one where I've got to hold my hands up. But again, I think I called it as I seen it. Up until 4 games ago, I didn't know what he did or what value he added. In the last 4 games, I can clearly see the value that he adds. But does the emergence of him at the same time as us getting the 4 wins, at the same time as Abada and Hatate are like 2 new signings, at the same time as Kyogo doesn't get called up to the Japan team, does the timing of this window, is it going to be influenced by those things that have happened in the last 10 days?
That, I think, is undeniable from the board's prism. And this is why it's so important you've got a manager in there willing to cut all that crap to one side and still stay true to what he thinks the improvements are that are needed, that he thought before the Hearts game, that he thought after the Hearts game, that he thought before tonight, and that he'll still think after tonight. He has to be ruthless in his approach for this window like he was not in the summer, and I still hold him responsible. As much as I hold the board never changed. Those pricks are what they are. They will act and they will conduct themselves through a window by scrimping and saving everywhere they can, determined to operate every window at a profit with no regards for what the man's strongly enough. And I think that's now over to Rodgers this time, because he clearly, his nose was out of joint. We found that out in the midway spell onwards of the from the window closing to the window opening. Midway through that period, the second half of the first half of the season, if you like, we've been made aware by Rodgers that he's not entirely happy with how the recruitment went this summer. Over to you then to change your big boy. Let's talk about the game, Terry, before we get into all that as well. We look at the start. Maeda, for me, at the weekend. We spoke about the balloon analogy at a party, and today, Matt O'Reilly's pass for a start is a fucking joke. See, to have a touch and a feel for the ball in 40 seconds, mate, on the clock like that. That should be midway through the first half, midway through the second half. You could totally understand. You've got a feel for the game. That sort of touch, to have that and that sort of deft pass is ridiculous on 40 seconds. That's like he's been on that part for way longer than 40 seconds. It is inch perfect. Now, what we accuse Maeda of is that first touch being right rotten, his second touch being a tackle, his third touch, if he gets one, being a cross that gets hoofed out the box. Well, this first touch completely killed the fullback, just took him right out of the game. He's cut across him with it. It opens up the goal. And you know what? The finish might be quite close to the keeper, but it struck cleanly, it struck with pace, it goes in. It was a good finish. And Maeda deserves credit for that as well. But inside 60 seconds, you're seeing Matt O'Reilly doing Matt O'Reilly things that you don't expect that early in a game. And then Maeda absolutely defying, as he tends to do, because he's such a Jekyll and Hyde player, defying the form that he showed at the weekend. Talk to me, Terry, about that.
It's O'Reilly. It's just... Hold on a second. Hang on that.
Oh, you're all right. Hello, Moto.
I thought I had it on silent, mate. Sorry, I keep doing that.
Mate, you're just so unprofessional, man. Honestly.
I know. First of all, good to see Maeda get on the score sheet. He hasn't been firing on all cylinders, shall we say, since he came back. I think you're a bit generous there. I don't think it was a great finish at all, to be honest. I thought it was far too close to the goalkeeper. It should have
been on target, Terry. Get it on target for there.
And to be fair, that goalkeeper had a pretty good game tonight as well. So to beat him, I suppose, is the main objective. I suppose, imagine you're Kyogo after scoring that goal on Saturday, and you look at your mate out on the right-hand wing who's, let's face it, had a bit of a mare, and then the Japanese squad gets pulled out and Maeda's on it and you're not. How does he feel for that? How do you feel if you're Kyogo in that scenario?
I think Kyogo's got to look at his own form, Terry. He's been included in squads since the World Cup, remember that? And he's got 2 goals in 10 games. I know he's your killer. It wasn't a killer header again tonight. A big game.
I'm prepared to forgive him.
But I think when you're looking at the quality of options the Japanese now have, almost all the players. I'm sure David Logue did a breakdown of their squad for the World Cup, and it was 23 out of 24 players playing the top 5 leagues in Europe. I'm sure that was the breakdown David Logue did. So see, when you look at that, you go, if you're not in one of those top 5 leagues, you need to be given instant impression with the numbers. And Kyogo's numbers don't do it.
Real simple recency context of Maeda's game at the weekend.
I know.
Against Kyogo's finish.
But do you think though as well? This is what happens with international squads. Very quickly on that is Maeda's got credit in the bank for his performances for Japan.
He does.
Because I don't think Kyogo has that in competitive games for Japan. That same credit in the bank. So he's got it all to do domestically, and he's playing in the easier league than what all his compatriots are. Therefore, it's an uphill task for him unless he goes in and smashes it when he does get these call-ups in between the competitive fixtures like he has done of late. If he's not smashing him when he's there, then what he does domestically, they'll be viewing from almost a negative prism. It's got to be impressive, and I don't think 2 in 10 warrants being in that squad. I know to the eye here, you could go fucking Kyogo Maeda, are you mental? But the Japan coach will go, but when I play Maeda, he's been very effective for me. His credit's built.
He gives him a specific role, which is different from the role that he's asked to play for Celtic. But come back to the start of your question, O'Reilly. I mean, what kind of numbers is he going to end up with this season? And it's that killer pass that we've seen so many times this season. It doesn't seem to matter if it's St Mirren or any of the SPL teams, or if it's Atletico Madrid. He's been providing those killer passes in all of those games. And I know we're probably going to look a wee bit ahead to this January window. I think we'll get through this January window without losing Matt O'Reilly, but we're going to really struggle to go beyond the summer. If this, we're going to struggle anyway, but if his performances keep going like this, I think every single week the list of admirers is just growing and growing, and I think it's going to be one of them ones, Bhoycie. we just have to enjoy the guy for as long as he's here. And when he goes somewhere else, we'll probably be sitting with 100 million in the bank.
Yeah, well, do you know what? Let's enjoy him while he is here. He did his post-match interview as well, and he says all the right things. I mean, he's not one of those ones, I don't decide my future, and, we wait and see. He talks about his pride playing for Celtic, and it's like, this is where he loves it here. I think you'll do well to tear him away from the club. He'll be someone that would be not as difficult as it was back in the day, right? But I don't think he leaves, for example, as quickly to a Southampton as what a team of that ilk in the Premier League. What would that be the equivalent of now?
He's already been at one of those teams,
Fulham, yeah. So, like, what would that the equivalent of Southampton in the Premier League? Like, say, a Bournemouth. I don't think he goes, oh my God, Bournemouth want me, the same way like Van Dijk did at the time, Forster did at the time. They wanted their avenue in to the EPL, and then they used that as their stepping stone from there. I wonder if Matt O'Reilly will be more patient in his approach, and he'll look at the KT logic and go, well, he went straight to top six. Okay, it might not have worked out entirely for KT over the last 2 years. That's not the point, though. If you can get straight in at Arsenal, you back you in yourself to dictate your own outcomes once you get there. I wonder if that'll be more what he's looking for. Like, I want something that really impresses me here for me to leave this, because I know the other side of football. You know what I mean? And I think when you've played down the leagues in England, you'll go, it's not that glamorous. It ain't that great, even at the likes of Fulham and stuff, where they might think they're all cash rich. This is a way bigger deal for me. And therefore, if I'm going to be going anywhere, it'll be somewhere that's on the up. JM, 2 points he's just made there. Fun fact, Dyson has scored our first goal for the past 2 years. That is interesting. But I like this point that he brings up. He's suited for a Villa or a Brighton, a club on the up where he's going to get first-team opportunities. That would worry you. But I don't think it'll be Crystal Palaces of the world, Terry, that are going to be tempting our Matt O'Reilly away whenever that day comes. And we are absolutely not chasing him out the door at this moment in time. Either we want him here as long as we can.
Here's the thing as well, Bhoycie. He's had an upturn in form since the manager came in, and at times he's probably been the one player that you can say Rodgers has come in and a player has improved because of that. And we know from O'Reilly's comments at the start of the season that he probably didn't enjoy playing under Ange, certainly not towards the end. And you have to remember as well, there was a massive drop-off in O'Reilly's form. He came in as a £1.5 million signing, and he was like a lottery win, and brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Thank you, Alex.
Fucking hell, Alex. Thank you so much. I don't know if you've meant to hit 2 and you've hit 20. Let me know. We'll get you refunded if you've made a mistake. 20 Bhoycie Bus memberships have just been dished out by a very own Alex. How kind is that? Appreciate it. Sorry to interrupt, Terry.
No, he's come in. It's worth interrupting for. He's come in, Bhoycie, £1.5 million. He's hit the ground running, and he's kicked on a little bit. But then there was a lull. There was a marked drop off, and there was times where his place in the first 11 was under threat from Turnbull, Iwata, Moy. Those guys. O'Reilly wasn't playing every single game. He certainly wasn't starting every single game. Whereas now you can't pick a Celtic team without him being in it. And one of the things that's going to be interesting is, assuming Hatate stays fit and doesn't go anywhere in January, and assuming O'Reilly doesn't, all of a sudden you're going from a midfield which was 2 players plus 1 from a lucky bag. It's 4 that have to fight their way into 3. And that's going to be an interesting dynamic across the remaining parts of the season, because how do you leave Bernardo out of a team now from where he was 4 weeks ago, where I just didn't see any value, didn't see what he added, didn't know what position he played. 4 games later, I'm thinking, well, he can play whatever position he wants. He can play 6, 8, or 10. He's equally effective. He breaks up attacks. He builds attacks. He gets assists. He scores goals. He's gone from doing nothing to being the complete midfielder in 4 matches. And I think we need to remember as well, and Sutton said it tonight, whenever Hatate came on, Hatate, when he was last really fit for us, Hatate was the best player in Scotland. So that's going to be a really interesting one as to how those 4 split into 3. But that's a great problem to have, and it's great for It's great for Celtic, and perhaps it provides an opportunity to give the captain a bit more rest, because again, he's really pulled his socks up in the last couple of games. Saturday was one of Callum McGregor's best ever performances in a Celtic shirt. And again, there's been a drop off in his form, and there's been a drop off to the point where people are questioning, is it time for him to get left out? But perhaps Hatate coming back, the emergence of Bernardo, the class of O'Reilly, it actually means we can put a midfield on the park that can allow the manager to give the captain more breaks without actually any drop off in terms of the quality of the team.
Yeah, it'll be interesting with that. With the Bernardo conundrum. Have you heard the other story about Bernardo as well? And we'll talk about him a wee bit if you like, because obviously he got that fantastic assist for two of the goals. The chip over for Taylor for the third. I don't want to jump ahead, but that was unbelievable. Yeah. But that spin on the ball and then the pass to O'Reilly for the side was top class, mate. Someone's going into the role. Someone's finding their feet. Suddenly the boots are beginning to fit now. You know what I mean? The jersey is now beginning. His shoulders are beginning to sort of be able to handle the Celtic jersey, Terry.
You think, Bhoycie, though? Do you think the managers had to have a chat with him? Do you think the managers had to say to him,
no,
you're going to have to do something? I think
Brendan's been overly. It's been very cautious with him. Mm-hmm. I think we've been guilty as well of two different sides to this. I think Bernardo's expectations, I think whether we accept it, whether we admit it or not, right? Honestly, we want him to be Jota. But hear me out. I think we've based it all on the fee, the potential fee, 6-7 million. Report comes out a week ago, Terry. The agreed fee, according to Football Scotland, is £1.5 million.
Well, what I've read...
So your whole perspective, though, let's just go with that and say that is actually the true fee very quickly, Terry, before you come in, right?
Yeah.
That changes your whole prism on expectations, hopes, and then what reality looks like. And then you start viewing it from a different standpoint. And I wonder if the 6 to 7 million meant we had way more hope and expectation for him from far too soon, where really, at the end of the day, whether he's came on loan with that potential fee or not, he's still a 21-year-old kid who's moved from Portugal to Scotland, playing out with his own country for the first time in his career, and it's Scotland, for fuck's sake. I mean, that is a shift in culture from the get-go for a young boy like that. You would like to think it would take a bit of time to get settled, and then the ability will shine through. Rodgers has been cautious with him, but I think he's been doing that from a point of view to protect the player. And then when he's decided to pick his moment to unleash, why can we not just give credit to actually how he's been integrated into the team? Rodgers will know better than anyone, whoever the manager may have been. It's not because it's Brendan Rodgers I'm saying this. But you will know when you see a 21-year-old and they're going, look, there's a bit of adapting going on here. Language barrier maybe to begin with, albeit he conducts his interviews in English. Probably only Kyogo speaks better English than him, but just kids on he canny. But I think with Bernardo, you're looking at a player we've took our time to let him find his feet. We've picked the right moment to bring him in. And now we are beginning to see the benefits. If it turns out that report is accurate and their fee is only £1.5 million, Terry, I pose to you the same question you put upon yourself a few times on the P.M.P, where you've said, would you be willing to go out and spend that money on him now, Bhoycie? I don't think so. If we flip it now to £1.5 million, I think, Terry Robb, you're paying it yourself.
The only argument I have with everything that you've said there is it's strange if Brendan was protecting him and putting an arm around him and waiting for the right moment that he still put him in the Champions League matches. That's the bit that doesn't quite add up there. If he was trying to protect him and drip feed him into the team, he wouldn't have put him in for the biggest games of the season.
But did you think he was better suited to those style of games, Terry? He's going Scottish football's a bit different.
Yeah, it must be, Bhoycie. He must have seen in the guy's makeup that he felt he'd be better suited to those matches. That's the only explanation that makes any kind of sense. Now, in terms of what I've read around the fee, the 1.5 is the loan fee that Celtic have paid for this season. That's what I have read, and that's what other people have said has been misunderstood in that report that came out. The 1.5 was the loan fee, and the figure to make that permanent is somewhere between 6 and 7 million euros.
So would that mean then we would pay another 5.5? Or you think they'd be paying 7 on top of the loan fee?
I don't know. I don't know. But I mean, if it's 5 million or 7 million, it is Celtic. It is Celtic. But if it's 5 or 7, I mean, 2 weeks ago, would I have paid? I wouldn't even have paid the 1.5 for him 2 weeks ago. Do you know what I mean? But if he continues the way he is, it's only 4 games. Let's not get carried away. You know, he could disappear again after the break. I don't think he will. I don't think he will. He looks too good in these games to totally disappear away. But I think he's probably just a slow burner, as you say, young lad. I think our expectation.
What was your favourite assist today, Terry?
Oh, that one where he done the swivel.
See, I like the chip. See, the chip, mate, is just naughty.
Nah, Palmer
does brilliant, though.
Palmer does that chip every week. No,
I love the chip. I thought the chip was...
The other thing I liked about that goal was the technique and watching it with my eyesight. I didn't know if it was Bernardo to O'Reilly or O'Reilly to Bernardo, because from where I'm sitting in my seat with my bad eyes, those two just look the same. And the technique, you couldn't have told the technique. If that was Matt O'Reilly done that swivel and pass, you wouldn't have been surprised either, because similar players.
They are quite similar players. Bernardo's definitely been a success story. Then on comes, for the last 18, 19 minutes, I think it was, Hatate. Tried to get involved, best he possibly could. Total respect that. Did you see him at the end? Did you see him? So what happened was he came off. So full time goes. Very interesting. Roger's in the middle of the park, and it looks like he's consoling Hatate. Hatate looks like he's burst into tears, or is like he keeps trying going at his face. Rogers then puts the arm around him, whispers in his ear loads of you know the sweet nothings that we want to hear. And even as Hatate walks away from him, he's sort of rubbing his eyes. So I don't think it was an emotional moment before people speculate that this was Hatate, saying goodbye or anything like that. I think he was maybe just back playing again. And for some reason, he got a bit emotional. It was a bit weird. I don't know what made him so emotional.
I've not seen it.
Yeah. But Rogers takes him totally great with him the way. And see, the thing is, that's what you want, the man management style. Rogers just instantly recognising it. In you come, has him squeezing tight and just whispering like that with a hand up, as they always do when the cameras are on them now. But as Hatate walks away, then so he's rubbing his eyes again.
So there's 3 things that could be, right? And
go on.
My emotional reaction, there's 3 things. He's off ski, he's picked up another knock, and he's going to miss the Asian Cup, or he's just an emotional guy and he's glad to be back.
I think it's number 3. I do think it was number 3. There's a few folk who've picked up on it. Thomas Bunn's asking, did anyone see Hatate at the end? He looked upset. My bullet came in earlier saying I saw the emotional reel too. It made me wonder. It was a bit odd, but I don't know. I just think I think Big Brendan's he's recognised it anyway. Whatever it is, he's been emotional. But remember, it's been for the. I don't know why it made you cry right enough. I was going to say it's been a stop-start year from my own.
You've no idea what could be going on. The guy could have something totally in his personal life going on or anything at all. You've no idea. It's that obvious one. That first thing your mind thinks to is he's gone. He's off ski.
Yeah, and it won't be that, because Rogers then apparently said on BBC Scotland, not that I've heard this, but according to our inside sources, Regan Stevenson, apparently he said to BBC Radio Scotland after the game, no one will be leaving in January.
Well, I don't think that's true. I think there'll be about 7 or 8 leaving, but nobody that we don't.
Well, what Rogers was saying is, no one that I think's any good will be leaving in January.
We've already had one leave in January already. He was straight down the road.
Do you want to know another thought from the game today, Terry? You'll love this. And I think you might even agree that there's so much scope for potential for this ending up happening knowing Celtic. We see out the season with Rocky and Lagerbielke playing centre-half. I can see it now, mate. The way Fortune will the way it'll play out, there'll be an injury or a suspension at CCV. Scales will take a knock because he's in far too good a form for that to last long. If you're a centre back at Celtic, your luck runs out pretty quick. And we play the run-in, the post-SPL split, post-SPFL split, I should say. We play that, and it's Lagerbielke and Rocky as our centre backs. Mate, you can see it now, can't you?
It didn't surprise me one bit. Wouldn't surprise me. But But I think it was confirmed today then Nat Phillips is gone. I think we suspect that he was already gone after that last performance.
Many were quick at the weekend to remind us he was in the stands. I seen him in the camera. He might have been in the stands in body, but his soul had left the club a long time ago, Terry. You were spot on, mate.
He was gone. Boys, there's still another couple of key moments of the game to
crack on.
So we got up as far as the Kyogo header from the Palma free kick. Then just on the stroke of half time, a red card. I think with a difference of opinion on this, because I know your feelings on it. You think it's a clear, obvious red. I don't. I think it was harsh. I genuinely do. I think Joe Hart gets up pretty much straight away. None of the Celtic players appeal for it. I think when you look at the still, you're talking about a fully extended leg. I know he makes contact. I would go back to the Maeda red card against Atletico. That still showed Maeda's leg being fully extended and into the shin area of the Atletico player. I just didn't think that was a red card tonight. I wasn't looking for it live.
No, Terry, you're wrong, mate.
No.
Sorry, mate. You're
allowed my opinion.
You're allowed your opinion, which of course you're allowed your opinion. Doesn't mean I can't be wrong.
I could well be wrong. It wouldn't be the first time. But I think if he goes into that with the force required for a red card, Joe Hart doesn't get up looking like that.
But that is not what the basis of a red card is.
It looks so bad slowed down. I mean,
Terry. I thought when I first
seen it. Honest, I have to be honest. I don't mind.
I like to disagree on it though, Terry. We used to enjoy these disagreements. Yeah, stop being all zen.
I just think we're going to end up in non-contact sport. And
no, there's a big difference with that. I think. See, when I first watched it, I was very much unsure. I wasn't sure, and I wasn't advocating for red card. Then you watch the VAR, and I thought tonight that is the definition of what VAR is meant to do. It's meant to make you see something that you wouldn't have picked up in real time that is clear and obvious an error. Now, when I watched that in real time, just from the camera angle, I get every right to go for it. Joe Hart dived low, whatever you want to say. Then you look at, you're talking about extending of the leg and it mirroring it with Maeda's, which is bizarre because Maeda's actual foot, albeit the studs were kind up, he was trying to close his studs and they're about half a foot off the ground. This is now waist height, Terry. Not head height because Joe Hart's had to go down, but it is waist height. The leg is completely extended and it's at 90 degrees, his boot. It is at the side of the head. Whether you like it or not, he is late. And nowhere else in the park can he do that. Nowhere else in the park can you challenge that, even if the ball's at that height. See if a player can't go in with their hands to obviously punch it clear. Only a goalkeeper could do that. So then you put the ball that height and picture at the centre circle. And he goes in, extended leg at waist height to win it. He goes off the park as well.
Don't think it was a red.
Good.
No, I don't. I think the guy's gone in. He's gone in to get a flick. If he's gone in there to absolutely bury that and kicks Joe Hart in the head, Joe Hart's head had come off his shoulders. Do you know what I mean? He's gone over. He's rolled about. He's got straight back up. There's no marks in his face. There's no cuts. There's no nothing. None of the Celtic players are pulling out imaginary cards. No, nobody's expecting a red card in that scenario. Nobody at all. I don't think it's a red.
But that's what VAR's there for, though, isn't it? Because it's meant to pick up what they don't see.
It's an accident.
It's an accident. It's not an accident.
Well, put it like this. That's a Celtic player, and he decides not to go in for it. That's a Celtic striker, and that ball goes across, and he doesn't go in for it because I don't want.
Oh, we know our players would. But don't worry about that. Oh no, our players would definitely make the same mistake, particularly in the Champions League. We would definitely go for it the exact same way. Of course, we've got that naivety. I don't know. I mean, Alex comes in. We'll bring up a comment. And it says every ref says accidents are still fouls. And as an ex-Muay Thai fighter, no messing Alex, he's going to have one hell of a sore neck and was nearly knocked out if you look at his neck. Wow. I mean, I thought Hart dealt with it like a man, which was refreshing to see. There wasn't the theatrics that you need. But yeah, I can't deny, Terry, at first look, wasn't sure. Then I thought VR's just done exactly what it's meant to do there. It's proven beyond doubt that's a sending off offence. I thought it was.
I just think everything slowed down. I just think everything slowed down. Just
Wait a minute, that's twice that's gone off.
I know, boys.
I'm going to do my inner Roy Keane. That's twice that's gone off.
Who's more?
You're not going to turn it off? He's going to ring it out?
The best thing, I've turned it off twice and they're still coming through. Obviously, I just don't know how to turn it off.
But funnily enough, I mean, if we've got a VAR decision going our way tonight, it was funny to see before we kicked off that Rangers gave away a penalty just on the brink of that record. Hey, who's seen that commentary?
Those games were actually happening at 3 o'clock today. I was sitting,
I
seen Johnny Logue putting on that Rangers had conceded a penalty, and I looked at my phone and goes, "Oh, that's nearly full time. I bet it's not 0-0 when the penalty was given." So I haven't seen it.
But 75 would have been the record, Terry, a world record. They know when to pick their moments. I watched them. There's that guy's in it.
Who's the ref? You know?
No. But there's a guy on Twitter called Lint, L-I-N-T. I think his handle's like Zeshashenko or something, right? But he has got, don't get me wrong, firstly, he's got too much time in his hands, right? But you crack on, big man. He made a compilation of all the decisions in those 74 games that Rangers have had penalty shouts against them. And when you watch video, 2-minute video after 2-minute video after 2-minute video, you go, fucking hell. It is incredible what they've got away with. Incredible. And no one should be surprised. And Chris Boyd had the cheek to go, well, and Rangers gave away a penalty today, so I don't know where they go with that chat now, do they? And it's like, they've given away one penalty in 75, Chris. That's exactly where they go with the chat, mate. I know you struggle with this sort of basic arithmetic, mate, but rather than it being 0 penalties in 74 games, it's now 1 in 75. There isn't that much wiggle room there to not still make a compelling argument that Rangers clearly get officiated differently from every other team nearly on planet Earth, nearly to a record level. It's not rocket science, Terry, is it?
I watched another pod last weekend, and they actually did predict that the penalty would come in the next couple of games because of that record, and because people could then turn around and go, well, that's that over and done with. What are you going to moan about now? But it's still 1 in 70, whatever it is. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so predictable. It's so predictable.
What do you make, Bhoycie? We talked straight after the game on Saturday. What do you make of the whole outcry from Ibrox around Saturday's game? Do you not think it's very, very embarrassing? Like we give our club a hard time because of some of the things that they do, but the way they behave whenever they lose a game and what they're basing their argument on, it's got absolutely no foundation whatsoever. It totally doesn't matter what the point that they're focusing on is totally irrelevant.
Yeah, because what happens is, Terry, right? See when the penalty award gets given him, and for whatever reason, Colin does think that is a punch of the ball, a deliberate hand to ball movement. I think it's a penalty. What they then do, and this is what I was trying to get explained to people on Sky Sports News yesterday, is they then go back to the phase of play leads up to the goal, and guess what? One of the mandatory checks of that are whether there's an offside in the build up to play. That's the phase 1 aspect. They would have then seen the offside and therefore no penalty anyway. So this is a hypothetical thing and they want to write to the SFA about it. It's utterly in your face, the incredulity. Oh shit, I hate trying to say smart words. Right, it's in your face, the utter bewilderment to Rangers Football Club when a decision doesn't go their way. That's what it leads to them doing. That's because if that doesn't tell you they get everything their way, nothing will. Because they are perplexed as to, but wait the fucking hell, we want a penalty. And we get penalties when we want penalties. If no, we're right into the big boys. That just shows you how often they get their own way. If that, like an offside attack by them, they want a penalty for. Or they want to know why they didn't get a penalty for an offside attack. And they want to go to the SFA and complain about it and send in written formal complaints. That tells you everything you need to know about how much they get everything their own way. Does it not?
I know, and Bhoycie, I heard again, I'm not plugging other shows, ours is the best, but I listened to another show which tried to put yourself in the position of a referee, given what Kevin Clancy went through last year when he gave a decision against Rangers and then his house got attacked. You're trying to referee one of these games, and you know if you give that decision, the chances are your home could be attacked, your family could be put at risk that evening or the next evening. All of that subconsciously plays into decisions that people give, and I don't know. I think sometimes as a club we embarrass ourselves, but there's sometimes that they just go over and beyond.
There's an entitlement that's reeking out of that, Terry, because there's no danger when we discuss the records that we've just been talking about a minute ago. You combine all those factors, you start going, one decision you don't think went your way, even though it was offside, and you know it was offside, and it's all proven it was offside. You want the audio for that, do you? Okay.
Here's the thing: even if
why don't everyone start playing that game against them? Very quickly, Terry, my point I'm trying to make is, if you want the audio for that, 2 can play that game. In fact, 12 can play that game. Every other team in the league now, every one of these dubious decisions that we've seen getting collated recently into these small videos, I want that every single time one of those examples happens from now on in, I want it, whether it be Hearts, whether it be Hibs, whoever, I want them to start writing to SFA and getting the audio, the written audio, I nearly said that, the audio.
Nobody should have to write.
They came to these conclusions. I want Connor Goldson playing beach ball. Only 2 people might decide tonight, mate.
But
Connor.
Nobody should have to go to the SFA for anything because, again, VAR has come in because of how much of a success it was in rugby. But in rugby, everyone gets to hear the conversation. So I think we will move to that scenario. I think TV will push for it. Sky will push for it. This Rangers demand might actually, in a way, bring it on. Where
make it more transparent, the better, big man.
To hear those conversations.
Hey, I want
in the stadium, in your living room, you get to hear what's being discussed.
Let's take Brendan's own words from his first spell. Be careful what you wish for. If they want full-on transparency and they want the audios, let's make it part of the entertainment.
In their favour.
Fucking right it would, mate. They would be. I mean, I don't understand what planet these people are on. They don't have any awareness whatsoever of how hypocritical they are, how ridiculously cheeky it is of them, and you just go, fuck it, but crack on, because as you say, I'm intrigued now to find out what the answer is from the SFA. What say you? Do you fancy opening the doors? Do you fancy making it all fully transparent, and we get the transcripts or the audio itself from every game? Because right now we're closing in on it, by the way. I was saying to you the other day about the commentary team gave away that we have a course of communication with that. I mean, we weren't enlightened. That worries me in a sense as well, Terry, because see if this is a two-way communication thing. My lack of faith in the ability of the officials is quite clear, and I'm sure yours is the same. But I don't want them hearing Ian Crocker and Chris Sutton or whoever it may be, and then getting influenced by them either. That just would be utterly ridiculous, but would be unsurprising if this really is this two-way communication that they're talking about. That would be alarming, and as I say, wouldn't be surprising based on the fact they're quite shite at their job. But let's go further than that. Let's just hear it. Let's hear it at the decision-making process, live, on Sky, at the time. Oh, mate. Box office.
I'm sure if Rangers get the recording tomorrow, as they're hoping to get, they'll let us all hear it anyway. They'll share the contents.
And what they then do is open the floodgates. And what they'll realise within 6 months is there's St Mirren have had to ask for the same against Rangers. Kilmarnock have had to ask for the same against Rangers. I know all these examples will happen against them because there'll be so many that rack up within 6 months. They've got no awareness, no self-awareness whatsoever. But at the end of the day, Terry, we are still 8 points clear at the top of the table, and there's nothing they can do about it right now for the next few weeks. Hopefully in that time, Celtic are going to have a busy January, but a positively busy January. Some deadwood, I think, should leave. I don't believe Rodgers when he says no one will leave. I think no one of note will. I think there'll be players that will go. And I hope there's no surprises in there from our point of view. I hope it's ones that we can all not shrug the shoulders with, but go, cheers for your efforts, but see you later, mate. And hopefully the strengthening that he's been speaking about doesn't get lost now in translation because we've done the 4 wins and the bounce. Let's hope, Terry, there's still that same focus from both Brendan and the club to make this January window a hell of a lot more of a compelling window than what the summer one was. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it can't just be. I think we're falling into a narrative that this window was going to be about just do whatever we need to do to get over the line in this season. It has to be building beyond that as well. It can't just be let's do whatever we need to do to make sure we've got the title in May. Yes, we have to do that, but we have to be thinking bigger than that. We have to be thinking, what can we do in this window to make us stronger next season, the season after, to make us more resilient if we lose a Hatate, an O'Reilly, a whoever. And I know we're just about to finish up, Bhoycie, but we touched on Bernardo's pass for the third goal. I think we also have to touch on the finish as well for a much maligned player, Greg Taylor. It was an excellent finish from a left back for that third goal. I thought it was.
It was a good finish. He just irritates the life out of me, Greg Taylor. I don't know why.
I know he does. I know he's not everyone's cup of tea. I know he hasn't. He's one of.
He struck me as a bit of a spoiled player this season, where when being played originally at the start of the season in what was a very normal left back role, it was almost like, oh no, I'm an inverted fullback now. It's like you never heard of what an inverted fullback was till Ange came along 2 years ago. You'd be shite, right? Now it's like, oh, I only just pull up trees. I'm in the centre midfield pulling the strings. You're like, oh, fuck off, Greg Taylor. Do you know what I mean? Like, but his finish was excellent today. Yes, it was. Will his position be strengthened in? Absolutely. He's put his fingers in the ears. I think it was maybe at the away fans. I hope it wasn't at the Punk Duck.
No, it was at the home fans.
Sorry, the home fans. The away fans. Sorry.
No, I think Taylor probably falls into that category where we need an upgrade, but he would be okay as a backup. He would be okay as a backup till first.
Well, he will be okay as a backup. I mean, the rumour is apparently the Portuguese player that's pretty much close to being done. There's another link as well. What did it?
Lad from Dundee.
Yeah, the left back. There's him and the Portuguese one.
Yeah,
there's 2 left backs that are very, very, very much on the radar, Terry. The other one that we seen yesterday, it's the Celtic Underground post. They've got like 90,000 followers on Twitter. And they only follow like 400 people, so must be a bit of substance to some of their rumours over the years, I would imagine. And the Celtic Underground post yesterday, Ollie Solbakken, remember that name? Played for Bodo Glimt against Ange. He's at Roma now. Funnily enough, he destroyed Roma, which under he's moved to Roma. That's a very Celtic signing, actually, to someone who plays well against us to then be chasing to sign. Apparently, he could be someone that's very much a person of interest in January. That would strengthen the wing positions, and I think that competition can only be healthy.
That's a funny one there.
Timmy Bing, I'll read that out in a second.
On Solbakken, and so what I read this evening, just between finishing work and watching the game, was he's already played for 2 teams in this season, so he can't actually go anywhere else until the summer. I don't know if that's true or not, but
I'm not sure that's accurate because
if he fully transfers, is it all right?
Well, I think there's also the other dilemma with that is, remember, the Norwegian season works from March to November.
Yeah, but who does he play for? Does he not play?
What season is it that
who does he actually play for? Is he Roma or is he Bodo Glimt?
Has he been bunted on loan from Roma? Is this from Roma he's been on loan?
I don't know.
Unless it's that, because I was going to say if it's the...
I should get my facts right before I start talking.
No, it's an interesting point.
I'm not sure.
86 was in there as well.
I'm not sure if he plays. He obviously played for Bodo, but he then ended up at Roma. I wonder if they've loaned him out. I wonder if they've loaned him out, something like that. Oh, fuck knows. Anyway, he's been a link recently.
There's the other one that has been linked. This one annoys me.
He's on loan from Roma. He's on loan to Olympiacos from Roma.
Olympiacos. Gotcha. I mean, one of the other ones that annoys me is this. Is it Novitsin? Something like that, or Knovitsin? I don't know how to pronounce it. The Danish striker.
It's not going away. That one. Yeah, it's not going away. That one.
I'll be disappointed. This thing sounds annoying. I'll be happy if we get him. but there'd be a side to me disappointed that was someone who was a person of interest in the summer with a Champions League campaign coming up. You fucking get him then when he's asked for. You don't wait to January. January, if we bring him in, would prove to me another example of a reactive, not a proactive board. And that is not supporting the manager properly, because that's not one that Rodgers could even go, oh, we never spoke about this though, like in the summer sort of thing. Yes, that was there. It was something that Celtic weren't willing to pay the money for in the summer. We then do a Champions League campaign, kind of the most prestigious competition in the world, club competition in the world, Terry. You know, that one that we treat as a sideshow because we've got Scottish League Cups and Scottish Cups to win, the big stuff. And they'll bring him in for that cup run in the Scottish Cup and for the league run. And that annoys me if that's someone that we are looking to now revisit. You go out and you get that work done in the summer when the manager requests it, Terry, do you know?
I think if we do that one as well, Bhoycie, that would put to bed any prospect of bringing in another striker on top of that. I don't see us bringing in two. And I know that you had hoped that Bhoycie might be someone that we would look at as well.
Well, the Bhoycie link is not one that I'm creating, but what I would say is when I heard of the link, I could see the pluses in it. I could see the pros in it. But I'm all for whoever it is the manager wants to bring in, and whoever it is he decides, hopefully with as little assistance from Mark Lowell as possible, but whoever it is they agree upon, I would like it to be someone that's very much the manager's leaning towards, not accepting of, but leaning towards, pushing for. And if that be the Bromby striker or it be Bhoycie, I'd be happy with either, provided it's the guy Brendan's envisaging as part of his plans, and then convincing, if you like, the money men to go and spend the money to get him. I'm happy for that. It's my frustration with the summer has been, it's quite obvious that money men are convincing the manager or telling them, or almost dictating to the manager, this is who we're getting, this is why. And then just talking him into it and him going, right, okay, I suppose that could make sense. I want it to be the other way around, those conversations in January, Terry, and it make it 3 or 4 players that come in that really the manager's pushed for, and the other guys have had to back down and say, right, fair enough, we'll go get them.
And do you think you'll know that by the calibre of the player that comes in?
I think we'll know it because I don't see...
They'll not be from Japan or Asia.
I don't think there's a benefit. I don't think there's a benefit to, even if you believe in the project model, I don't think you could really realistically sign more than 7 in the space of 6 months. We brought in 7 in the summer, mate. I don't see anyone in the world thinking, do you know what we're going to do in January? Sign some more of them. I just don't see that being the logic, even from the money men. I don't even think they're going to go, let's bring some more projects in. I think everyone will be...
Listen, four games ago, we didn't think Paulo Bernardo was a player. What you see a couple of games into the...
Con will be...
Con's going to be...
Fuck off.
Running the show.
He's one of the boys that are done. Worst football I've ever seen in my life. Honestly, get him out. He is terrible. No offence to him, his family, but he picks up, I'm sure, a very tidy wage for Celtic. Well done. You'll get paid off, and we'll see you later. Anyway, Terry, that's us just approaching the hours, 222 live. Please give us a wee like before you leave. The bus, it always helps. The algorithm, as Phil McGinley regularly educates me about, because I don't have a clue with this sort of thing. Terry, you back to work tomorrow morning, mate?
I was back today. I'm going to go and watch the darts here, and
yeah, going to watch the darts. I mean, look, Littler, 16 years old, good on him in that, but he's a wee prick. Hope he gets beat. Keep your eyes on the board. See you, Terry.
See you later.